In the midst of darkness, lo and behold, a friendship kindled. The fire that spread with it seemed so small against the vast night sky, small and flickering, but defiant.
The Midnight Walk is a bit spooky yet cozy and heartwarming. At my most generous, I'd love to compare it to Tim Burton animated films, but honestly, that wouldn't be fair. The game is a truly unique and charming piece of interactive art that deserves to stand on its own. We play as the Burned One. Awakened from a long slumber, we find the sun has vanished, and the world is now trapped in an endless night. With the help of a small companion, a pod boy, carrying within him the last ember of this dying world, we embark on a journey, the so-called Midnight Walk, to reach the distant Moon Mountain. What I found particularly interesting is how the game openly acknowledges that it is a story, that the characters' destinies are predetermined, or maybe not. As the soothsayers say at the very beginning, it is inevitable, we must all partake. And by we, I believe, they mean not just the characters within the tale, but the player as well. The Midnight Walk unfolds like a storybook, divided into several chapters. Each one tells a strange, whimsical and compelling tale filled with broken or misunderstood characters, each facing their own internal conflicts and crises. With the help of the pod boy and the warmth of the ember he carries, which I interpreted as symbol of love and kindness, we help heal those lost and freezing in the cold of the endless night. For example, in the chapter The Tale of Lonesome Mulgrim, we find ourselves in a town called Nobodyville, inhabited solely by heads. Long ago they blamed their bodies for the wars they waged and exiled them after the Great Beheading. I love this tale in particular because, beneath its bizarre surface, filled with dark humor and, to my taste, brilliantly absurd puns,
Go to the quest. Meet the problem head on.
lies something much deeper. It explores themes of war and peace, humanity, self-destructive tendencies, and the eternal need for love, compassion, and forgiveness.
It's a real shame when you think about it, the things that we do to ourselves, to one another.
And before I get completely carried away analyzing the symbolism and meaning behind the story, turning this review into a full-blown essay, let's address the elephant in the room, the game's stunning visual style. Midnight Walk was created using clay, cardboard, and stop-motion animation, all stitched together with what I can only describe as a whole lot of love. More than once I caught myself just standing still, soaking in the beautiful panoramas, admiring the characters up close, or studying the tiny details scattered throughout each level. It gave me the same feeling I had as a child when I'd pore over the illustrations in Petson and Findus books. A huge amount of care went into world building. The locations feel alive, with hints of forgotten past. What happened to this world? What was it like before the night fell? You'll often spot strange creatures going about their own business, and everyday objects like shoes or books becoming part of the natural landscape, quiet remnants of once familiar world. I was also absolutely blown away by the soundtrack. Seriously, prepare yourself for an emotional roller coaster. One moment your heart is melting from warmth, the next it's clenched in sorrow, or you're covered in goosebumps from a wave of unease. It's great stuff. If you're emotionally ready, I highly recommend listening to the soundtrack somewhere on Spotify as a separate experience. I also have to mention the voice acting, it's phenomenal. From the key characters and the narrator to the recordings on the shell phones, the range is impressive. I'm no expert in acting, but personally I didn't hear a single weak performance. Even the background voices felt genuine and helped maintain the illusion of the world throughout.
Welcome to Coalhaven, newcomer. Good to see you flame in these parts again. I'll be your guide tonight. This furnace here used to run on coal and fire, don't you know?
Before we move on, allow me to highlight one particular shell phone message we find early in the game, about the creation of the world and the origin of the Midnight Walk. I don't know if it was intentional or just a wonderful coincidence, but the voice reminded me so much of my favorite grandpa David Lynch. It was an unexpected and lovely touch, and for that my heartfelt thanks to Moonhood.
With wire, clay, and fire, the craftsmen built the foundations, followed by the trees and the rocks. And after them came little houses for us tiny ones to cower in, for existence was so big, so vast, that without a roof above one's head, one could have fallen straight into the skies.
Gameplay here plays a secondary role. Its main purpose is to serve the story, so in terms of mechanics, the game is quite simple. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It makes the game accessible to people who might be drawn in by its visual style, but don't have much gaming experience. For the most of the game, ironically enough, you'll simply be walking somewhere, occasionally solving simple puzzles, usually involving fire, the pod boy, or a mechanic where you have to close your eyes and listen carefully to sounds. As I mentioned earlier, fire is a key theme in the game. From time to time you'll find matchboxes and light candles, which help illuminate your path and open doors. However, you won't always be able to do this on your own. That's where your little companion comes in. He can throw fire, fly into pipes to reach areas you can't get to, and generally help you overcome obstacles. I also really like the closing your eyes mechanic. It's probably even cooler in VR, but on PC all you have to do is hold down the spacebar, the screen goes dark, ambient sounds grow louder, and this helps you find keys or story items, as well as reveal hidden paths. In this case, I definitely recommend following developers' advice and playing with headphones for a better experience. There are quite a few monsters in the game as well, very creepy and unsettling. Maybe it's just a personal thing, but stop motion clay creatures give me serious chills, especially since you can't fight back, you'll have to rely heavily on stealth. There are quite a few stealth segments, but they're generally short, simple and spaced out well throughout the game, maintaining a forgiving pacing. What's more, the penalty for being caught and eaten isn't too harsh. Each dangerous area usually has a respawn point nearby, which you can use without any consequences. Throughout the game you'll also find a fair number of collectibles, like aforementioned shell phone recordings, various clay figures of the game characters, vinyl records, and a 15-part film called Who Took the Sun Away, which you can watch on a projector in your housey. Housey serves as your safe haven, where you can examine your discoveries, and it's also a pretty quirky character in its own right, with its own backstory and an important role in the overall narrative. The Midnight Walk is perhaps one of the most original and unusual games I've played in a long time. I generally fell in love with it, and I even feel a little vulnerable recommending it, afraid that some people might not fully appreciate what makes it special. Still, I really want more people to know about this game. I don't want it to get lost in today's oversaturated video game market, buried under all the big AAA releases. That's why, after much hesitation, I finally decided to write this review. So, if you're ready for a small yet deeply soul-stirring journey, please don't let this game pass you by. This was Radio Nick, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and a comment, and I'll see you again, further down the Midnight Walk.
Ah.